editor, everything, Coralie Fargeat. Well, congratulations on the Critics' Choice Award from last night and all the accolades for the film. It's such a delight to see people respond to this film. I can't imagine, like, you have been having such an incredible journey with it over these past few months. How many people have seen this movie multiple times in this room?
Oh, wow.
How does it hit on a second watch, right? It's great. When you know where it's going. Where you know where you're going to end up at the blood prom, for the big show. I did want to, sort of just start from the beginning, because your vision is so bold and daring, but it's such a holistic vision, which I know starts on the page. Like, you write in all of your camera angles and, very strong visual description. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your writing process and how you put your vision, the actual images into words, so that all of your creative collaborators might be on the same page.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So great to see such a great room. Yeah, it's true that for me the writing process is really where everything starts, also on a visual and sound way. Because the way I write, as I know that I'm not going to write a lot of dialogue, and I really love to express myself through images and sound, it's also the first thing that I start to research when I have the idea of the film. Before even writing anything, I really research visual images, paintings, and music and sound, because I know that they are gonna be the very kind of two important legs that are gonna define the DNA of the film. Because the way I work, I really love to create a visceral experience that you can really feel. And to me, that really goes through a lot of unconscious things that you receive that are not 100% explained or that are not told in words, but that you're gonna experiment. And so, as you say, especially when you don't write a lot of dialogues, everything has to be super specific and super detailed to kind of build the escalation, that kind of allow the raising craziness, to reach the top. So when I start to write, it's true that I go very, very much in detail into what the framing is going to be, what's the color of the location is going to be, what's the size of the locations are going to be. Also, what's the sound is going to be, and the silence sometime, which says a lot of, building a scene. Because all this, I know also because I edit, that they are going to be the key thing that's going to build the experience. I'm thinking, for instance, about the birth sequence when Sue is born from Elizabeth, which is in fact the first sequence that I wrote even before I knew who my character were going to be or what my story was going to be. It's the first scene that came on the page, like very, very detailed. I think the same way that you can see it today on screen. And I think this scene kind of embodies the whole DNA of the film, because it's really guided by what the bodies are experiencing. It's really you're with Elizabeth, with the way she looks at herself in that mirror, what we see as an audience, but what she feels about herself. And then when she takes the drugs and the transformation starts to process, there is this whole out of frame experience that you hear, that you feel, that the close-ups on the eyes, for instance, are, sharing with you. And you are like her, you don't know what's happening, you know, but you feel that something extremely weird, powerful, unknown is taking place inside of her. And then when Sue, you know, start to come to life, it's the same kind of desire for me to put the audience in her skin. Like, what is it to wake up, open your eyes, discover your environment, and discover yourself, you know, in front of that mirror, being a new you, being a new self. So from the script, all these details and all these sensations are already taking place on the page, because I know that they are going to build the environment which are going to also allow the audience to enter the world of the film. Because when you're stepping out of reality, of realism, you have to very specifically build the elements that are going to allow the audience to then enter your world that is not the real world. And I'm thinking, for instance, of, you know, the beginning of the film with this star, the Walk of Fame, the orange corridor, this red bathroom. All this already has a shift with reality, you know. It's places you feel that are in between the real world and in between a phantasmagory world where, you know, it's not realism that matters, but the feeling that the location are going to make you feel. And all these elements are kind of leading you to then accept that, yeah, she's going to go and take that box, inject herself the product, and this other self is going to be born from her back.
Right. I wanted to also, one of my favorite things about your work, which I saw in Revenge, which I love so much, is what you do with the camera and the gaze. And I think you really heighten it in The Substance. This idea of sort of making like a parody of a objectifying gaze, and the way that we sort of learn to look at ourselves through mediated camera gazes. Like, I think you shoot Sue like a luxury sports car or like a video vixen at times in this really outlandish way, and then you challenge those expectations with the camera. Like, sure, she's really sexy, but then she's gonna like pull a chicken wing out of her ass, like, or, you know, something crazy is gonna happen. But there's also in this film this idea of how we learn this gaze and then apply it to ourselves. And so much of The Substance is about this relationship between the internal and the external gaze. And you do a lot of stuff with POV. I saw in the making of featurette, you have the helmet cam that you're operating. So, you know, with the big poofy skirt on, you know, you're literally wearing it, you're creating this gaze for us as an active participant. But I just was wondering, I know this is like a huge question, but just sort of your philosophy to the camera and like how you are asking us to step inside these people's bodies and also to look at us externally and kind of that, you know, shifting dynamic between the internal and the external.
Yes, it's a very central question in the film, because as you say, like, there are many different gazes in the film, and it's really what the film is about, how we shape the way we look at ourselves, how we think that we have to conform to what is expected from us and what is going to value us in the public space, how we can enjoy it, how we can fantasize it, how we think we can want this from ourselves, but maybe, you know, it's something we're conditioned to feel that it's the only way to exist. And again, like, to me, it was really the idea to express what I was feeling regarding those issues, you know, the way I have experienced them in my own life and the way I see them all around. And for instance, there are clearly two different gazes in the film with the related to the camera work and the nudity, which is the world of Elizabeth when she's in her bathroom, And in the bathroom, she's alone. She's facing herself in the mirror. No one is looking at her. The shots are very, normal, and we just see the reality. We see the reality of her body. We see who she is for real. But what we also see is the difference between what we see for real and the way she sees herself in the mirror, and everything that she feels or that she thinks that the outside world has kind of put into her brain, that she doesn't deserve to be loved, she doesn't deserve to be seen, and we see that she has a very judgmental look onto her own body. And in this bathroom, the bodies, they are not at all sexualized. They are seen in the reality of just the body. That's why it was also very important for me to have the relationship with those body lying down on the floor, to have this heavy feeling of the relationship just with the reality, with the heavy of being flesh and bones.
Yeah.
Exactly. Without anyone projecting anything on us. And at the contrary, when we are outside, in the outside world with Sue, it's a whole different way of experiencing the world, and the way the world is projecting also something else on her body. For instance, I amplified, everything when Sue is outside. Like, the sky is blue, the palm trees are green, every light, has a shininess on her sunglasses. Her legs seems, endless, because I shot from underneath. Everything is amplified to kind of make the audience feel how much, you can feel, you can feel like valuable, because all of a sudden all the gazes are on you. But little by little, it builds a new jail. It builds a new trap that, again, you're going to take your value from other people's eyes. And the pump it up, like, is the top, of this expression.
Right.
Like, it's a mix between, yes, having this new hyper sexy body that's going to put you in the center, of the attention, and that everybody's going to, praise and look at, and that can give you some sort of feeling that you are existing again. But there is also this kind of hyper sexualization, and the way that the body is kind of chopped into pieces, into, the butt, into the legs, into the boobs, which, are really, I think, the way we are sometimes looked at. And, I grew up in a generation where everywhere, you heard so many comments, in a very normal discussion about boobs, about butts, about legs, about, as if you were really, some sort of object that everybody could comment, criticize, make joke about, or fantasize, or sexualize in a very normal way. And to me, the idea was that, and I think it's a really important question about what's the boundary between, doing whatever you want with your body, using it the way you want, being as sexy as you want, not sexy as you want, and what is the thing that you think that you want, but that might be something that, in fact, you feel that you have to do to have some kind of existence. Because we all want to be loved, we all want, to be valued. And I think, when you grow up and the only model of praising, that you see is because you're beautiful, or you're sexy, or you're going to be desired, or you're going to be, in the center of the attention because, the boobs, the legs, the butts. I think your brain kind of, naturally think that this is, the best way to be valued. So the chicken was, the idea of showing that putting again like so much value into other people's eyes are going to build a new trap. Then if you lose that perfection, or if that perfection, that sexiness is endangered by anything, then it's a massive fear, it's a massive, kind of
you can never have any single flaw.
Exactly.
Or anything,
And then like you can't change, you can't evolve, you can't, be just a human, because human beings, they don't stay the same. They transform, they are made of multiple layers, and the real trap is to kind of think that you have to be only one thing that is not gonna move, that's not gonna evolve, that's not gonna change, and basically that's not life.
I was also, I mentioned I watched the making of featurette, which you guys should watch if you haven't seen it yet, but I really got the sense, not only did you write and direct and edit this film, you were such an active participant. I feel like you are the third performer in this, in the creation of this, sort of dual character, because you were creating the POV by wearing the camera and your arms and hands, and like your arm is being, injected with the substance. What was it that you wanted to be such an active participant and almost another performer in this role?
Yeah, it's true. It's really something that I love doing. I love having a visceral relationship to the shooting. I really love to, have my hand in the dirt, to, I do need, to have some sort of experimental way of shooting, because the experience that I want to create is so visceral that part of me, I feel has to experiment it myself to 100% deliver. And it's also what I love the most, like to me this is the magic and the fun of making film as well, is like taking something and make the audience believe that you're somewhere and you're somewhere else, or you build a model to make it look like something else, and it's super fun to just do this yourself. And it's also that most of the time I have such a specific idea, such a precise vision of what I want, that it's easier and faster for me to do it myself, because then each time you explain something, something can get lost on the way, or it takes time. And sometimes for me, the most organic way and intuitive way of doing it really goes through doing it myself. And also because of the way I think I write, which is really, when I write, I envision so much the scenes, and I put myself in the place of the characters, because everything is so much linked to the camera work, to how I'm going to build the scene in the rhythm, that part of me, I guess, have to be there, exactly, to feel it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us tonight. Thank you all for coming, and love this movie, and so excited for all the success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coralie.
Thank you.